Hello students. Now we are going to see what are the measures of central tendency. Now what is mean by central tendency? Yes, if I have to tell one value which will represent the whole observation data, okay, so that value is called as central tendency, or if I have to put it in a definition, it will be saying as the central tendency is that value around which the whole data of the observation lies. Okay, so for your study there are three central tendency measures. One is mean, median and mode. So all three of them we will be looking one after the another. So first of all, let us see what is a mean. Now as you already know, mean is nothing but the average. Yes, for example, if I have to find what is an average of the marks obtained by a student A, so I will first of all have to know what are the marks obtained by that student A in different subjects. Let us suppose the marks obtained by student A in 5 subjects are out of 50 if the exam is. In one it is having 30, another he is having 35, then he is having 40, then he is having 41, and then he is having again 30. And I have to find what is the average of the marks obtained by student A. So what is the logic? You already know. What you do, you add all the marks obtained by that student, isn't it? And you divide it by 5. Now why you dividing it 5? Because these are the marks obtained by the student in 5 subjects. So what is the addition? Plus 1 is 6, 7, 11, 15, 16, 17, 18. So 186 by 5. So if I divide it, 5 3 is 15, 35, 2. So the average marks of student A is 37.2. Okay. So the logic is whenever you are finding the average, what you do? You add all the observations, hence sum of all the observations, whereas you divide it by how many observations are there. Now here my observations were 5 and hence in the denominator it came out to be 5. So here in the denominator it will be total number of observations. Okay, so this is the formula for mean, calculating mean of any observation. So calculating means sum of the observations, all the observations you have to add them and then you are dividing it by total number of observations. Now here the number of observations were only 5. So it was very easy. I have directly added all the values and then I have divided it by 5. But what if the number of observations are more? Yes, a table I have drawn it here. So as you can see here, the total number of observations are 30. Fi means frequency, how many times the respective number is repeated. So the total number of observations are 30. So for finding the sum of 30 observations, will you write 10 plus 20 plus 36 plus 36 plus 36? Since 36 is repeated 3 times, it means the 36 observation is present 3 times. Then 44 times, so 40 plus 40 plus 40. So it will be a very lengthy value, isn't it? Lengthy value as in you have to add so many numbers and it will be a very tedious process. So definitely there should be a way for finding out the mean of such observations in a very quick and easy way. Okay, so what we are going to do, as you know, whatever are the data, we can represent it in a frequency distribution table. So this is my frequency distribution table and these are the marks obtained by the students and these are the number of students who have obtained that respective marks, and I have to find the mean of the class. So what I can do now, when I am saying that 10 is having the frequency 1, what does it mean? Yes, it means 10 is repeated only one time, isn't it? Similarly, 20 is also having frequency 1, so 10 plus 20. Similarly, 36 is having frequency 3, it means 36, I have to write it 3 times. Similarly, 40 4 times. Okay, so as I have told you, this will become a very tedious process. So instead of writing 36 36 36, I can write it as 36 into 3. Yes, repeated addition can be converted into multiplication. Similarly here it will be 40 into 3. This, since they are one time, so 20 into 1, 10 into 1. Next value 50 is repeated 3 times, so plus 50 into 3. Okay, so what you can observe, can you see that these are the marks obtained whereas this is the frequency? Yes, for the next case also, marks obtained, frequency, marks obtained, frequency. So what you are doing, you are actually multiplying the marks obtained with the frequency, isn't it? And then whatever values you are getting, you are adding them all. Fair enough? So before adding, we have to multiply all the marks obtained or all the observations with their respective frequencies. So why don't we make an extra column here and write the name of the column as FIXI. Yes, where Fi means the frequency of ith row and Xi is the observation of ith row. Ith row means this 1, 2 seconds. So if I take F1 X1, so it will be frequency of first row multiplied by observation of first row. Okay, so instead of multiplying there and then adding them, let us first multiply there here itself. So we will get one extra column. So 10 into 1 is 10, then 20, 10, 160, 150, 112, 240, 280, 72, 80, 196, 276 and 95. Okay, so these are all the values when you multiply the frequency with their respective observations. Okay, what is our next step? What we were doing, we were adding all these multiplications, isn't it? It means whatever values I have got it here, I have to add them. For addition, we usually use the sign summation. Okay, so the sign sigma is nothing but the sign for summation or sum. And if you add all the values here, the total is 1779. Okay, so by coming back to our formula for average, what does it say? It says the mean of any value is given by sum of all observations divided by total number of observations. Okay, so what is my sum of all observations? This was my sum. Yes, the complete value I have found it here. So which is summation of which is 1779 divided by what is my total number of observations. So whatever is the addition of frequency, because this is what the value which tells us how many times the respective observation was repeated. So it was 30. Yes, so if you subtract, you will get 59.3. So the average of the marks obtained by all the students is how much? 59.3. Okay, so if I have to find a general formula for this, what I can write? What have you done here in the numerator? It was summation. Summation of what? Multiplication of frequency into observation. So let us write summation of frequency into observation. Okay, so if I just write fx, so which frequency and which observation I have to multiply? I have to multiply each frequency with each observation. So I will write here fi xi, which means ith frequency gets multiplied with ith observation value, where the value of I will be from 1 to n. 1 to n means this will be your first row. So it will start, the value of I will be 1. It will start from 1. So the first value will be, if I write it here, so it is nothing but f1 x1 plus f2 x2 plus f3 x3 and so on, isn't it? Till n. N means whatever are the number of rows. We don't know. In this case we know, but in a general formula we have to write it so that it is applicable for all the examples. So hence I have taken it as I takes value from 1 to n. And what was present in the denominator? Yes, in the denominator it was f1 plus f2 plus f3. Yes, again this could be written in the form of summation as summation of fi. Yes, f1, f2, f3, where again I takes value from 1 to n. Okay, so this is the formula for finding the mean of the observations when the number of observations are more or when the observations are repeated. The first example which we have seen, therein the number of observations were less and the observations were not repeated also. In this case, it is not actually feasible to add each and every value, so you will get a very long numerator and also a very long denominator. So the best way is, anyhow you are going to multiply the frequency with observation. So why don't we make an extra column here and name that column as fi/xi. We multiply them individually and then in the numerator we add all the values, and hence we will add there in the table itself, and in the denominator I have to multiply with the total number. Yes, so total means nothing but the number of students. So this is a column of your number of students, which is nothing but your frequency also. So whatever is the summation of frequency value, that will come in the denominator. Okay, and hence that is the general formula for finding the mean of the observations when the observations are repeated. Okay, now there is a what you can say, limitation also. Now what is that limitation? Suppose there are 5 students which are going for a trip. Okay, so the 5 students whose weight are 17, age 17, 17, 16, 18, and along with them one professor is going and his age is 80. Okay, so now if I have to find its average, what will be its average? 17 plus 17 plus 16 plus 18 plus 80 divided by 5, which will give me what? 17, 8, 6, 14 plus 7, 21 plus 7, 28, 2, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 148 by 5. So if you divide, you will get 2, 9, 6. So 29.6 is the average. Now whenever you are finding the average, what does it mean? It means the, as I have told you, average is, now as I have told you, average is one type of a central tendency. Now the meaning of central tendency itself is, it is the value around which the whole observation value lies. Yes or no? It means in our previous example, when we found out 59.2, what was the average for the marks, it means most of the students fall in that range, isn't it? Now here when you are seeing, you can see that the average what I got is 29.6. Now these are the ages, it means 29.6 years. But as you can see, none of the students are falling in that bracket, not even nearer to it. The 4 students are far less than 29.6, the average value, whereas the one person, the professor, is having an age which is far beyond than 29.6. So in this case, will the value, average value, tell the exact measure of the central tendency? Yes, in this case it cannot tell. Yes, why it is happening? Because the highest value of the data is far beyond the other values, or the difference between the highest value and the other values in the data, there is a huge difference. What does it mean? It means the mean of any data gets affected by the highest and lowest value. Even if there is a huge difference between the lowest and the all other values, still your data will still your average value will not be an exact measure of central tendency, isn't it? So that becomes the limitation of an average, which tells us if the highest and lowest values are far beyond or far below than the all values of the observation, then the average of the observation will get affected and it will not tell you the exact value. Okay, so for this we will be looking at the other central tendencies, but that is the limitation. You have to remember it, that the mean value of the data gets affected if the highest value and the lowest value are far beyond than one